In the previous video, I discussed the fact that understanding your income is the important starting point when establishing a realistic budget. Because like it or not, our income provides the upper limit to our spending. Now, if you're a salary earner and you get the same pay week by week or fortnight by fortnight, it's pretty easy to understand what your income is. However, if, like a lot of people, that's not you, and your wage fluctuates significantly on a week-to-week, fortnight-to-fortnight basis, then budgeting can be pretty tough. So in this video, I want to take you through the strategies that I use to help people budget to an irregular income. Now, I know the world's not quite as simple as this, but my experience is that irregular income earners fall into one of two categories. Either you earn an irregular income because your hourly pay rate changes based on the shifts you work, or perhaps because you work overtime, or perhaps you just work extra hours in the month. Your pay can fluctuate significantly because of that. And then we've got the seasonal workers, and the seasonal workers are people like farmers, students, artists, people that work in the tourism industry, where you'll have months of the year where you earn a whole heap of money, and then you'll have months of the year where you earn next to nothing. So what I want to do is share with you a couple of strategies to deal with each of those types of income earners. Let's start by having a look at shift and penalty rate workers. Typically what happens is you have a baseline of income that you know you will earn on a regular basis, and then over and above that, depending on which shifts you do or depending on whether you work overtime, you may get more money throughout any given month. So what I've got here on the board is this lovely bar chart that my daughter Hannah helped me put together, and pretty much you can see there's a bar for every month of the year. So what I'm trying to represent here is each bar shows how much income you've earned in that particular month. So if we have a look over here, you can see that in January, we didn't start the year off in terribly good fashion because that was our lowest income for the year. Went up a little bit in February, dived a little bit again in March, and then in April it went up. And April, you can see that in April, August and November were our highest income months, and we had quite a few ones in the middle there. So what I want to show you here is that where this red line is, this red line represents what our minimum income is. So if you think about it, this is our baseline income without any overtime or special shift penalties. This is what we know we will get as a worst case scenario on a monthly basis. Now, where you can, I recommend that you try and base your budget on your minimum monthly income without any penalty rates, without any overtime. This is what you know you will get, and therefore it's pretty easy to budget to this. So where you can afford it, this red line here, your minimum income, that's what you should be trying to budget to. And the good thing about budgeting to that is every time you can see one of these bars over and above this red line, that will be surplus funds. That means in that month, you will actually have savings that you can stick away, put into your savings account, use to pay off debt, whatever you like, but that is over and above what you've set your budget to. That is the ideal scenario. Now, I know that not everyone can do that, so the next option is to then work out the average. So what do you earn on average throughout the year? So the best way to do this is go back and have a look at your last 6 to 12 months worth of pay slips and figure out, okay, what did I receive on average? And that is represented here by the green line. So the green line is quite simply, what did I earn over the last year, divided by 12, and that is what I'm going to base my budget on. Now, that will mean that you're living within your means. So if you're budgeting to that, you're living within your means, but you're not saving anything. So where possible, work out what your average is and then try to budget to just a little bit less so that we have a situation where you are consistently spending less than you earn. Because it's no good just breaking even. We want to move forward. So I'm hoping that makes sense. Where possible, budget to your minimum monthly income without the shift penalties and so on, what you know you will get, and then when those extra pays come in, it's a bonus. If you can't do that, aim for your average. Okay, we want to aim for our average, and if we can get to our average, then at least we're not spending more than we earn. But as I said to you, where possible, just try and base your budget on a little bit less than the average so that we do have some savings coming through on a month-by-month basis. The next type of income we want to look at is the seasonal income. So this is where we receive most of our money in very specific times of the year. So for instance, a farmer who gets their income when the harvest comes through, or an artist who only gets paid when they either sell artwork or they get their royalties and so on, or students who work during the summer months and get most of their income then. Having an irregular income, a seasonal irregular income, can be really tough to budget to. So what I want to do now is share with you the strategy that I've set up for all of my clients that fit into this category. The starting point is to know what is the annual income that you expect to receive. And typically, most seasonal workers have an idea of what they will receive over the course of the year. They just don't know exactly how it's going to come to them. So if we have a look at the previous year and go, okay, well that's what I earned last year, let's base our budget on what we earned last year, the annual figure, divide it by 12, and that is what we will budget to. So in the example that I've got here, we've got an annual income of $48,000, which means that we are going to try and budget to $4,000 per month. Okay, so we're setting up a budget to make sure that our expenses don't exceed $4,000 per month. And what that means is, when our good months come along, so let's just say we have a month where we earn $10,000 in a month, we're budgeting to $4,000, so $4,000 feeds the budget, keeps that going, keeps that happy, and $6,000 then gets stashed away or squirreled away, if you like, for our rainy days, for those months where we're not going to receive as much. Now, it can be really hard to do this because if you are a seasonal worker, when you suddenly do start receiving all this income, it's a bit hard not to get excited and to start spending. But what you need to do is you need to be saying to yourself, no, I know I've received $10,000, but $4,000 is what I need to feed my budget, and the other $6,000 I'm going to push up into savings so that is there and available when I don't have any income coming in. So you're pushing that money up into savings so that it accumulates throughout the good months, and then when we have the bad months, we do the reverse of this. We don't have $10,000 coming in. Let's just say we only have $1,000 coming in. The $1,000 comes in, but we're $3,000 short of meeting budget. So this is where we are then going to pull money out of savings and feed it to ourselves as an income. 1,000 plus 3,000 equals 4,000, and our budget is happy. So I'm hoping that's making sense so far, in that good months we squirrel away what we don't need to feed the budget. The bad months we draw from savings to top up just enough to meet what our budget says we need. Now, of course, it's important that we start with the right monthly figure for our budget. But if we start with the right monthly figure, what this means is that we should end the year perfectly even. We won't have gone forwards, we won't have gone backwards, but consistently we will have had enough to provide for our budget. Now, one thing that I do need to talk to you about here is, of course, 4,000 or 1/12 is good, but ideally we want to be moving forward. And the whole point to this course is to be consistently spending less than we earn so that we can be saving money. So where possible, we should actually look at our annual income of $48,000, which is a $4,000 per month budget, and instead of making it $4,000 per month, ideally we would cut this back and say, all right, let's make it $3,500 per month, so that at the end of the year we're starting to accumulate money in our savings that isn't going to be needed for future expenses. So start with your annual figure, divide it by 12. If you can, pull that back a little bit and budget to that. During the good months, anything over and above this, you push into savings. During the bad months, you pull those funds out of savings, just enough to top up your budget. And that should get you through a seasonal income.